Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you study, everything just slips away from your memory? What if you could unlock the secret to remembering everything effortlessly and ace your exams or master any skill faster than ever? Part 1. Understand and Visualize. Understanding the material deeply and creating clear mental images are the foundations of strong memory retention. When we merely try to memorize words or facts without truly grasping their meaning, the information remains fragile and quickly forgotten. True learning happens when the brain processes information at a deeper level, linking new input with existing knowledge and forming vivid sensory impressions. Why understanding matters. Cognitive psychology demonstrates that comprehension leads to better memory because the brain actively organizes information instead of passively storing it. For example, when reading a story or an article, visualizing the scenes and characters helps build a mental movie, making recall easier. This is referred to as elaborative encoding. Adding meaning and detail creates multiple pathways for the brain to retrieve information later. Techniques to boost understanding. Ask questions. Always ask yourself why, how, and what if about the topic. This active engagement forces your brain to analyze and connect ideas. Summarize in your own words. Instead of rote repetition, try to paraphrase what you learned. Explaining concepts aloud as if teaching someone else is highly effective. Create visuals. Sketch diagrams, charts, or mind maps. Representing information visually aids complex concept comprehension and memorization. Relate to real-life examples. Personalizing facts by associating them with your experiences or current world events improves memory consolidation. Common pitfalls. Rote memorization without meaning. Just repeating without understanding leads to the illusion of learning, where you feel you know a topic but can't recall details. Multitasking while learning. Dividing your attention reduces comprehension and memory storage drastically. Real-life application. Students learning vocabulary benefit significantly from imagine a situation exercises. For example, if the word is meticulous, imagine a chef carefully arranging each element on a plate. This image helps link meaning and word visually. Part 2. Use associations and stories. Associations and storytelling are powerful memory tools because our brains naturally remember linked and sequential information better than isolated facts. This part will explore how forming associations and building mnemonic stories help improve recall. Why associations work. The brain organizes memories in networks. When new information connects to existing nodes via similarity, relevance, or sensory links, it is easier to access. For instance, the famous Baker-Baker paradox shows that people remember the profession baker better than the surname Baker because of the vivid mental imagery and context association. Techniques for creating associations. Chunking related information. Group pieces into categories or themes. For instance, learn grocery items by categories such as fruits, vegetables, and dairy. Create mnemonic devices. Acronyms, rhymes, and acrostics help transform confusing data into catchy phrases or patterns. For example, PEMDAS for math operations. Develop stories. Build small narratives incorporating the items to remember. The story acts as a scaffold for memory retrieval. Use humorous or silly elements to make them more memorable. Visualization and associations. Combining association with images also plays a vital role. The method of loci memory palace is an ancient mnemonic technique that assigns items to specific, familiar locations in your mind. Walking mentally through these places activates strong visual and spatial memory, enhancing recall. Tips and tricks. Use emotions and senses when building associations. Funny, strange, or emotional content sticks better. Relate new information to what you already know well to build strong memory pathways. Pitfalls to avoid. Creating overly complex stories that are hard to remember defeats the purpose. Relying on just one form of association can limit effectiveness. Combining visual, emotional, and conceptual associations is best. Real-life example. When memorizing a shopping list instead of just repeating item names, imagine a story where a banana slips on a melon, rolling into a carton of eggs. This entertaining mental image makes the items instantly recallable. Part 3. Break information into chunks. Memory capacity is limited, but chunking helps circumvent this by grouping information into smaller, manageable units that the brain can remember easily. This part explains chunking and keyword strategies. The science behind chunking George Miller's famous theory explains humans can hold 72 items in short-term memory. Chunking increases this number by grouping small data units into larger, meaningful chunks, such as remembering a phone number as 3 segments instead of 10 isolated digits. How to chunk effectively information logically. Arrange data into categories, patterns, or sequences. For example, when learning history, group events by time periods or regions. Use hierarchies. Break down topics into main ideas and subpoints. Creating an organized tree-like structure. Apply keywords. Instead of trying to memorize entire sentences, extract the essence using keywords. This reduces cognitive load during recall. Practical methods for chunking using bullet points or numbered lists in notes. Making mind maps to visualize grouped concepts. Learning vocabulary by semantic fields, animals, emotions, colors. Common mistake string to remember too many chunks at once without mastery reduces effectiveness. Chunks that lack clear meaning or relate poorly to each other are hard to integrate. Real-life scenario: a student trying to learn biology terms can chunk by grouping words related to cell structure, like nucleus, mitochondria, ribosomes, rather than memorizing a random list. Part 4. Repeat and space out learning. Repetition strengthens memory traces, but how and when repetition happens can make a huge difference. Spaced repetition and recall practice are the most effective memory retention methods. Why repetition matters. Each repetition reinforces neural connections, making memory stronger and less likely to fade. However, repeating without gaps, cramming, is less effective and often leads to quick forgetting. Understanding spaced repetition spacing learning sessions over time leverages the brain's natural consolidation process. After initial learning, memories become stronger when reviewed just before they fade. This method uses optimal timing intervals, hours, days, weeks. How to implement spaced repetition as apps or flashcards designed for spaced repetition. For example, Anki. Schedule multiple short study sessions rather than a single marathon. Review material regularly and test yourself actively rather than passively rereading. Testing and active recall testing yourself strengthens memory by forcing retrieval, which is key for long-term retention. Methods include flashcards, summarizing from memory, or teaching others. Avoiding the illusion of learning, simply rereading material creates a false sense of knowledge without strengthening recall pathways. True retention requires active engagement and testing. Real-life example language learners benefit hugely from spaced repetition apps that show vocabulary words at increasing intervals based on recall success. Part 5. Write and speak it out loud actively. Engaging multiple senses and modalities enhances encoding and recall. This part explains the science behind writing and speaking aloud while learning. Writing is a memory tool. Writing by hand is slower than typing, forcing selective focus on key points and encouraging deeper processing. Handwriting also engages motor memory systems, creating richer memory traces. Speaking aloud and auditory encoding, grading, or explaining content aloud engages auditory pathways and improves focus. This multi-sensory approach increases attention and helps with the retrieval of verbal information. Techniques for better writing and speaking: take neat, concise notes emphasizing main ideas. Teach or explain learned material to an imaginary audience or peer. Recite vocabulary, formulas, or key facts aloud regularly. Benefits for language learning: speaking aloud aids pronunciation and fluency, while writing helps internalize grammar and spelling through practice. Avoiding pitfalls: avoid passive note-taking that copies without thinking. Instead, summarize in your own words. Speaking without understanding may reinforce errors. Always combine with comprehension. Real-life use: many successful learners use techniques like shadowing, where they repeat after a speaker to improve memory and speaking skills simultaneously. Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you study, everything just slips away from your memory? What if you could unlock the secret to remembering everything effortlessly and ace your exams or master any skill faster than ever? If you want to boost your memory and learn proven, easy-to-follow tricks to remember anything, hit the LIKE button. Subscribe to English Boost and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful tip. Plus, share this video with your friends who want to improve their memory too.